Good evening, everybody. How you doing? It's Coach Hamilton. Late Wednesday night. Jumping on here for a few minutes, man. Welcome to the show. Outside the X's and O's with me, Coach Hamilton. Glad to be here with everybody. For those that get a chance to jump in, if you get opportunity, don't forget you can, like, share. Um, Make sure you go to the YouTube channel and subscribe to Eddie J. Hamilton. Glad to be here again, and just wanted to jump on in and have a little conversation, and just share a few things, man, for those that are interested. So if you have anybody in your family, friends, anybody that's in the coaching profession, send them the link, man. Tell them to jump in and join in with us, man. Uh, so we're gonna jump right in. As you can see tonight, uh, it says, "Why do you want to coach? Why do you want to coach?" And pretty simple question, but at the same time, it's one that we don't ask ourselves enough. Just something to put on our minds to really dig into ourselves and really remind ourselves of why we do what we do, why we put up with what we put up with, why do we spend the time we do with other people's children. Uh, it's definitely a thankless job, but it's got to be a driving force, and so just kind of want to talk about that a little bit tonight. So like I said, get ready to jump in here. Like, share it, subscribe to the YouTube channel. All right, why do you want to coach? Coach, you thinking about it? You should be thinking about it now. Why do you want to coach? I know we all have different answers. We say, well, I love the game, or I love the kids. I want to help kids out. I want to win championships. I want to help kids get scholarships. I want to prepare kids for the next level of life. We have a lot of reasons that we throw out there and that we say. But the truth is, sometimes we can get lost. We can get lost sometimes. We can definitely have a sincere motive when we jump in, but once we get into it and get into the fire of picking up kids and having to buy them food and hotel rooms, and making sure their grades are good, making sure they're staying out of trouble, staying away from the wrong influences, making sure they're playing the game for the right reasons, being motivated. It's just so many different things that coaches have to overcome. The agenda that kids may have, the agenda that parents may have. Could be administration. Your administration might not agree on what it is, the reason why you're doing what you're doing. So there's so many different factors that go into it. And we just kind of want to talk about that tonight. Just something to put on our minds. School has started, school has begun. Football season is about a couple of weeks away for high school. Basketball season starts rolling around the end of October, and then on into our other sports that come after that. But like I said, it's just something for us to just think about, to put in the forefront of our memory. So, hey, today, just want to take you on a bit of a journey, just a reflection, why we want to step into this role. Uh, I can go back and I can remember when I, first knew that I wanted to coach. If y'all mind taking a stroll with me, I can go all the way back to, I finished high school in '98. I went to Belhaven, fall of '98, went to play ball there, got hurt, had the medical red shirt, transferred to Northwestern State. And that semester, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was that semester, if I'm not mistaken, that I made up my mind that I wanted to be a coach. Um, when I came home from school, it was the Bossier Invitational, one of the oldest, most popular basketball tournaments in the state of Louisiana. I think it's about 80 some years old now. I was there with my dad. I was with my dad. And what's funny is I wish I could give you every detail, but I don't remember who was playing. I don't remember. I just remember watching the game with my dad. It was halftime of a game. And during halftime, one of the players that was playing, I saw something. Of course, I'm just still in college. I don't know what's going on. I just saw something, and I shared it with that kid, and they came back the second half. They did what I instructed them to do, and they wound up winning the game, having a good game. And I looked at my dad and I said to my dad, Pop, um, I think I know what I want to do. I want to be a coach. And initially, I had computer information systems as my major. And after I went through the first class of computer information systems, I knew then I didn't want to sit in front of a computer all day. So man, we talked. Me and my dad talked, and I told him that I wanted to be a coach, and he told me to go for it. And so when I got back to Northwestern, I transferred to Northwestern and took my top scholarship. And I knew what I wanted to do then. And from that point, that's what I was in school for, to get my degree in PE and health, so I can be a coach. Um, Now at that time, my reason for being a coach was just to win. It wasn't anything else. It's just like anybody else. I wanted to see if I can coach and win. And that's what it was. I was 19, 20 years old maybe at the time. I think I was 19, but now 18. And because I had a late birthday. And 18 years old, I knew I wanted to coach, and I always aspired to move back home and see if I can get a program and build a winner. That's all it was. But just to speed up, little did I know that coaching was way more than about winning games. Way more. As I had the opportunity this weekend, I had the opportunity to share with the Hall of Famer Laterica Dobbin and her program, her summer league program, the Louisiana Power, and I was sharing with them then. As I was speaking to them, I got a chance to work out with Northwestern State University women's program that year, and meet some amazing people. And I got a chance to get some tutelage under legend Mr. Coach James Smith down in Northwestern, and that coaching staff. Got a chance to practice every day and get around the routines of a college basketball team. And man, it was so enlightening. It's so enlightening just to watch every day what went into preparing a basketball team to win games. So I got a chance to see that at the collegiate level, um, and it was a pleasure to see. It was eye opener, and so just kind of fast forwarding through. As time went on, I realized that it was more to coaching. Like I'll see the name of the show is outside of the X's and O's. I realized it was more to coaching than just the game. It was more to it than that, and that's not something I understood. Even in high school, I played at Booker T. Washington. I wasn't a great player. I was okay. I was good enough to start, good enough to finish. Um, took the long way. Freshman team, JV team, got a chance to dress varsity. Moved on. And there were a lot of things that my high school coach said at that time that I did not understand. Just being a kid. Um, when I go back, when I think probably one of the biggest reasons why I did make the decision so easily when I sat there with he was not my first coach. Coach Thrass was my first coach in third grade. We called the Elves, who played at Kirby's Park here in Shreveport, around the corner from Centenary College. And but after that, my dad was my coach. My middle school did not have a team. I went to Middle Magnet, Cattle Middle Magnet, and we didn't have a middle school program. So we played in the YMCA league and in the SPAR league. And my dad was my coach while I was there. And so I got a chance to spend pretty much 3 years of my life playing for my dad, me and other guys from the school. And my dad taught me a lot. I learned a lot of fundamentals and basic things about the game, but it was some stuff that I didn't get as well. And that's not a disrespectful or a knock or anything. It's a volunteer program, but I didn't play for a middle school team. Around the town and play in a league, and I didn't understand running plays and defensive rotations and scouting reports and different things like that. So I was able to start getting that stuff in high school a little bit. But little did I know that I was going to become a coach myself. And as I fast forward, that's when I started to realize when I was at Northwestern, getting ready to come out of school, getting ready to graduate, and starting to seek a job opportunity. That coaching was way more serious than what I thought it was. And part of the reason is because um, As the generations change, parents change, kids change, motives change. You know, everybody isn't playing the game for the love of the game. And I keep saying the game, so it means basketball, football, baseball, whatever. Um, when I was a kid, I think I was right. I think we were right in the middle of the growth of AAU basketball, the Amateur Athletic Union. That was something that was starting to grow in the '90s and become really popular in camps and different things and stuff like that. And who knew? As you fast forward to this time now kids can make money playing ball while they're in high school. They can be sponsored. Uh, you know, there's so many opportunities out there. You got prep schools now. You can leave your high school and go to a prep academy and just play a sport. One of the largest ones in the country is called IMG Academy down in Bradenton, Florida. It's such a big business. Like, people don't realize youth sports right now in America is a $14 billion a year industry. So if y'all just think about that, think about the opportunities that children have today, and the parents who invest a lot of money into trying to get their kid an opportunity to be the next big thing. There's so much going on around the sport that coaches, and the value that we have in helping to develop children into having an opportunity to make it, in sports. It's like our role is being diminished because everybody's trying to get a scholarship or get an NIL deal. And we're getting away from loving the game. I'm playing because I love, like right now. If some of y'all, a lot of y'all out there probably can agree with this. I was a kid in the '90s. We played basketball every day. Every single day we played basketball. Every day. Like, it's nothing else I can say. We played basketball every day at somebody's house, or we went to a park. Every single day we was playing basketball. And so with that being said, now that's not the case. It's not the case now. We don't ride around neighborhoods and see 10, 15, 20 kids playing basketball anymore, or playing football in the field, or playing stick ball, because we couldn't play baseball. We didn't have baseball bats. Playing stick ball. We played curb on the sideline. We did all these different things as kids that we don't see now. Everything now, kids are always on the inside. They're on the inside. They're not outside playing sports anymore. But they all have these dreams that they want to play back. They want to play a sport and get a scholarship, but they don't even love the game. So for a coach in this day and time, we have to work around all of that. We're trying to get kids to go and compete at a high level at something that they don't even love. I mean, man, it's amazing to me right now. And so for coaches, we really have to check why we're doing what we're doing beyond just the game itself, because we're not coaching kids at the highest level of the love of a game. It's, I'm playing because my homeboy playing or my friend play. I'm on the team because my parents just say I need something to do while I'm in school. Or I'm on the team because, hey, I'm gonna get me a scholarship. I'm gonna go to Division I and play this sport. You don't hear him say, man, I just love hooping. I just love playing basketball. I just love playing football. I just love playing. We don't hear that often anymore. Even this weekend, for those that paid attention to the Olympics, the guy Schroeder from Germany, he made a comment and he said the reason why the world is catching up with America at basketball is because the world still, the world is still playing the game, or playing the game the way it's supposed to be played, with fundamentals, playing together with teamwork. They say America's game has turned into flash, and it's a show and it's entertainment. And you know what? I don't disagree. I agree with them. We have the best athletes in the world, but we don't always prioritize playing the game fundamentally and playing it together and simplifying the game. Everything now is just one on one, trying to get a dunk, shoot the three. It's not really having to think the game as a whole. And a lot of kids are not being developed at a young age because all it is, I'm talented. I got NIL money now. I'm going to play for this shoe circuit. I ain't got to practice. I show up and play. And then there are more kids flaming out at the college level or even at the high school level than it is that's making it. That's the facts. It's the facts. And so for coaches, for us at the grassroots level, there's so much on us to try to make sure that we are coaching for the right reasons and not just the wins and losses. Yeah, we all want to win, but there's a level of development that our young people need in order to play the game at a high level. And we have to be bold enough as coaches to set those standards, to challenge their character, to set goals and put boundaries around it to protect them and cover them, so they can develop a love and a passion for what the game brings to them: teamwork, camaraderie, friendship, brotherhood, sisterhood, togetherness, working together, learning, accepting roles. Because for the rest of our lives, we all have to do that. We all have to do that. And so it's not individual. Nobody's self-made. That's not real. You could be self-motivated, you could be self-driven, but you're not self-made. Everybody needs help. Everybody needs somebody to work with. Everybody needs to have a level of interdependence where we're working with somebody. So the question is again, why do you coach? I'm throwing all these things out there first because we got to recognize, man, there are a lot of factors out there that's going to test your love. It's going to test your passion. Dealing with parents, fundraising, kids with attitude, kids that's not motivated. Your administrators might not have your back. There's so many factors at the streets. Friends, girlfriends, boyfriends. I mean, it's so many things out there that we have to overcome, and we got to have a bigger picture on why we're doing what we're doing. So I'm gonna tell y'all this quote. I have a book that's coming out soon called The Complete Coach Success Guide, and it's integrating well-being and success. That's coming out soon. I also have some ebooks that's going to be available on my website coming up as well. And one of the things that helped me years ago, this is around 2007 or 8 when I was getting ready to move back home, and I found a book called John Wooden's Pyramid of Success. John Wooden's a legendary coach at UCLA, won I think 11 out of 13 national championships straight. Probably the gold standard when it comes down to coaching. He also was a man of faith, and he has a definition for success. And that definition is success is peace of mind, and I'm reading this here, which is a direct result of self-satisfaction in knowing you did your best to become the best you are capable of becoming. Success is peace of mind, which is a direct result of self-satisfaction in knowing you did your best to become the best you are capable of becoming. So let's break that down. To success, peace of mind. So no matter what it is I'm doing, whether we're winning or losing, or there's a steady progression and we know that we're improving at different aspects of the game and of the team, success first is it's peace of mind. Okay? But then that's a direct result of having self-satisfaction and knowing that I did my best to become the best I'm capable of becoming. And your best might not be first place all the time. But I still can have peace of mind that I succeeded at becoming the best that I can be. So for coaches, for us, we have to set high goals and high standards that we have, but also we have to be able to rest in knowing I did the best that I could do for my program. And then getting our kids to understand that you did the best that you could do. Yes, we were going for the state championship. Yes, we were going for the district championship. Yes, we were at least trying to get the state to the semifinals. But when you go back in hindsight, you look at it, you look like, man, you know what? Man, we did the best that we could do. And by discovering this definition of success years ago, I can't say that I've always abided by that. I can't, because I'm human. I'm human. So I can't say, but for the most part, That's one of the things I've tried to make one of the foundations of what I'm doing as a coach. So, like I said, I'm being transparent. That ain't always been the case. It hasn't been. Sometimes I get caught up. We get caught up in just winning, proving to people that we can coach, proving to people what we can do, getting caught up, in how it looks to other people. But man, when you start to mature as a person, then you get to understand that it's not about what other people think about our program, but it's, am I giving my team what they need? Am I giving my team the best of me? And so that's what that quote does for me. It helps me to remind myself that I need to make sure that I'm giving my program what they need. So moving on from that, talk about success. Success. The next thing is, now I got to pay attention is what is driving me. What is my motivation? And we're talking about what's our motivation for real. Because we all can say on the surface, man, I just want to help kids. But then every time you turn around, when you don't have the talent, you talk about your kids. Well, my kids just ain't this. Well, my kids just can't do that. Well, these things they're not good at. Oh, these kids ain't motivated. Oh, these kids, we start saying those type of things, but we got to remember, what's my motivation? Because we can become selfish too as coaches. I'm a living witness. I can tell you right now, I can go back and I can go back year by year, and where there were times where my motives were right and when my motives were off. But what that made me do was it made me dig into myself. Okay, so I'm a man of faith. Okay, don't mean I'm perfect, but yes, I am. I'm a minister now, and grew up in the church. Learned a lot of things, but man, there's so many things I had to learn about myself over the years, especially after I got married. Then the next phase of becoming a father. I mean, man, a lot of times, man, our flaws and the things that we fall short of, or the things that we do well, it can show up in our performance on the job that we have. So for us coaches, what's different for us is, for a nurse, like my wife is, when she goes to work, okay, you have a group of people you work with, okay. For somebody that's a lawyer, they have a group of people that they work with, maybe, but man, for us as coaches, man, when it's a game, we got thousands of people. We got thousands of people that's watching us in the heat of the moment. And man, depending on what's going on in your personal life, if you don't have a hold on it, and if your mental health is being challenged, man, it's some things that can come out of us as coaches that some people call passion. But man, we got some issues going on. Now, I'm gonna speak for me. Maybe every other coach out there is perfect and don't have any issues. So I'm gonna talk for me. There were times in my life where I had peace, where I was being consistent in my prayer time, in my studying, my word, and making sure that I'm grounded and I'm seeing life clearly. And then there were times where I wasn't doing those things, and I wasn't spending time, and my family wasn't my priority, and my relationship with God wasn't my priority. And I had personal issues and things going on that, while I was coaching, man, those issues came out. They came out and they showed in anger, you know. And at that time, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand it. But that goes back to what's my motivation. I could tell y'all, hey man, I want to help kids get in school. I want to teach the game. I want to be positive, have positive impact in the community. We say that, but then the truth is that what's in us is what's going to come out. We reap what we sow. So if I'm not spending time developing myself as a person and keeping myself in check and staying in front of the mirror and making sure that I have a good foundation for the type of person I want to be, in those heated times, a moment is going to show up. There was a saying, I think, by Dr. Myron Golden. He's a Christian business coach. You find him on YouTube, and he says this, and I heard Coach Chris Dorsey say this as well at Seminary while I was there this past season. Said there's going to be a time where when your time comes, you're going to either be revealed or exposed. Think about that. Your time is coming. And whatever you do, your time for success, whatever it is, the opportunity is there. When it comes, either you're going to be revealed or you're going to be exposed. So what's revealing? Revealing is the things that I put inside of myself to build me up and to make me strong and to build up my character and my integrity and how I approach life. Either that's going to be revealed in those moments or I'm going to be exposed at being a hypocrite or not having integrity. Meaning I'm being like a politician. I'm making all these promises. I'm saying that, hey, I want to help kids get in school. I want to be a mentor. I want to be a leader. I want to be all these different things. But when it's time to be seen in that moment, I'm exposed because I fall short of the things that I said that I want to do. So you're going to be revealed or exposed. And that's why we got to make sure our motives are right. We got to have the right motives. We got to have the right reasons why we say that we want to coach, why we want to get in front of children and lead them. Now, mind you, man, nobody's perfect, man. We don't get it right all the time. And that's okay. It's okay for, you know, because we all need grace. We all need it. But the bottom line is man, can we stop ourselves and recognize where we're falling short of what we need to do differently? So we got to make sure we got the right motives and that we're not saying the right motives, but we're also doing. And when we do fall short, be self-aware enough to be able to apologize and to say, hey, man, I messed up. I didn't do this right. I've had times in my career where I've had to talk to my teams and apologize to them for decisions that I made. Or, hey, man, I really believed that this was going to work, but it didn't. And I went back and looked at the game film and maybe we should have done this because I'm a human being. It is what it is. And if I'm able to lead and guide that way, what do you think we're teaching our kids? We're helping them to learn how to be adults, you know? Because as adults, man, the bottom line is adults, we grown children. The difference is we paying bills. That's it. So, like I said, man, we want to make sure that our motivations are right. And it's something for you to think. So coaches that's listening or anybody in leadership position, just want to make sure we check our motives and make sure that they're purely in our hearts. Okay. Well, when I go back, in my life and over time, and I think about the coaches who inspired me, I'm going to start with my father. I'm going to start there. Third grade, I played for Coach Grass. May he rest in peace. I know he coached at Fair Park Girls for a long time before he retired. But he coached me Little League when I was in third grade. But to be honest with you, I wasn't old enough really to remember anything. So for me, the next phase for me was I played for my dad. In the good old Spar League, in the YMCA League. My dad, Eddie Hamilton, man, he was real big in the community, man. My dad hosted tournaments a lot. We did that a lot when we were kids. He coached several teams. He's played ball with us in the backyard and took us to the park. And when I think about that, and I watch my dad as a kid, when I go back in my mind and, picking up kids for practice and taking them home after practice and pushing us to be the best that we could be, that's inspiring. That's inspiring. And then when I fast forward a little bit, I can remember Coach Gerald Smith. Um, man, he was Coach James Smith. His son is named Gerald. Gerald's the coach at Madison High School in Dallas, Texas now. Coach James Smith, the Shreveport Travelers, big influence. He was one of the ones. He was like a big cheerleader, man. He's always positive. That I got a chance to play for. Coach Jimmy Thomas at Booker T. Washington, and I think I played also was Coach Joe Adger, played AAU one season with him as well, and Coach David Bryant. I met him when I was 15 years old. He was coaching at Linwood, I think, and him and Jimmy Thomas was my AAU coaches as well. Real big inspiration for me. Getting me to believe that I could be a decent basketball player, because one of the things I struggled with was self-esteem. You know, I never believed that I was good. I didn't. When I was in middle school and high school, I played and I was an okay player and things like that. But I never believed I was one of those guys. I never wanted to step into that role of being the guy. And I think that's why I fell in love with Scottie Pippen, because Michael Jordan was the man and Scottie Pippen was his sidekick. So I was cool being the sidekick, but I had several coaches at different times, man, that all imparted different things into me. And then when I started to take coaching serious, um, then I was able to connect with guys like Chris Bush down in Natchitoches, Coach Michael Coleman at Natchitoches Central. Um, while I was there in Natchitoches, those were guys I got a chance to really see how to run a high school program. Um, and before that, Coach Mac Braxton, legend Coach Mac Braxton, won a state championship with him down at Lakeview in 2003, and got a chance to really see how serious this thing really was. And and there's other people who I definitely could glean from and mention, but those are some of the names that when I started to take coaching serious, I could look back and say that they were a big inspiration for me. And one of the biggest things for me, as time went on, one of the ones who I stayed in contact more than anybody else was Coach Dave Bryant, the late Coach Dave Bryant. We just had the 3-year anniversary of his passing um, about a few days ago, and but we used to talk all the time. And the funny part about it was that we did not talk about basketball. We didn't talk about basketball. We talked about everything around basketball and what made coaching so significant, how important my role was as a leader of young men. And that's why he and I grew close, because like I said, the conversations wasn't just about the game. It was about everything around it: the preparation, the time, the sacrifice, the meeting the needs of the young people with setting standards and boundaries. Those things were very important. But one of the things that help you find your motivation is your own values as a person. As I started coaching, I realized how important it was to know what I stood for. That's the thing that had to develop for me as a coach. I had to have standards. I had to have boundaries. I had to have things, a reason why, that I was coaching, and what type of values that was at my core, and what I wanted to exude on to my teams. So later on, I'm going to be able to share with you guys how to develop your core values, because you got to find out what it is that you stand for. And when you know what you stand for, then you're able to live that out in front of your teams. And then your teams are going to glean from you. And that spirit takes over the team. So like I said before, you know, um, the teams that I've coached over the years have had a reputation of playing really hard on defense. Really, really, really hard. And the thing about it is that it wasn't that I had this secret to sauce to, the X's and O's of it, which, I consider myself to be good at that. But what it was our purpose. It was challenging the boys, challenging their manhood, and that we have a goal that we're trying to obtain. We got to understand our strengths and weaknesses. And that stuff came from core values. And for me, 3 pillars that I stand on is trust, respect, and unity. Trust, respect, and unity. Those are the pillars that we have. Those are 3 core values that I have as a coach. And I'm not going to go into the details of those right now, but it gives you something to think about. For me, trust, respect, unity. It'd be things like integrity, domination. I mean, just whatever, commitment. It's so many things that you can think of as you're developing your value system that leads into developing your philosophy. And so you got to know that as a person, and it's going to mold and shape how you approach every single day. So for me, everything that we do as a team, we want to make sure we're developing trust, respect, and then we're unified. And then on top of all of that, my ground basis, because I coach boys, is that I want to have influence on whether or not my players decide to be committed husbands and fathers. Because in my opinion, based on some things I've learned over the years, it's hey, Man, that's something that we just tend to kind of skip over in our culture today. The importance of having men who are committed to their families. I don't have the numbers, but I've heard, different times and stuff where people talk about the percentages of guys that were in jail. A high percentage of them didn't have, a father or didn't have a male influence. You know, um, there are a lot of different things that's taking place to prove how important it is to have committed fathers to families in order to help children be grown. And it's not saying that kids with two-parent homes are perfect. It's not what it's saying, but it shows there's a high percentage of a lot of our children who, when they become adults, who get into trouble and get into crime, who say that I did not have a father. I did not have a male influence. So that's something that I made a commitment to. And right now, entering into my 20th year, I have former players that are not married and they have families. And I want to believe that there are things that my staff and I have taught to help them to want to live that way and raise a family. You know? So find out what your core values are. That's very, very important that you find out what your core values are and you stick with them. And when you stick with those, what happens is that your decision making every single day becomes consistent because you don't compromise from your belief system. Whatever it is that you have belief in and what it takes to build your program, you don't compromise. Have I been guilty of compromise before? Yes. Not often, but yes. And I'm sure a lot of us can check ourselves and see there were times when we compromise. What's funny is, though, we don't compromise with the least talented kid. We compromise with the most talented kid. It's going to be honest. That's what we're going to do on this channel. We're going to be straight up. But the bottom line is that when I caught myself and I realized what I was doing, I was able to go and deal with those situations, no matter what it took, whether it was dismissing the kid from a team or, apologizing to the group openly for not being consistent across the board when it came down to the fair treatment of all the players. It's hard nosed as it seems like I am a lot of times on the sideline, man. That's something that you talk to any of my players. Hey, look, if I got to apologize, I will. Because we all know that's something hard for men to do is apologize. But we do, you know. So along with developing your core values, that's going to help you to develop your philosophy. Okay. And your philosophy is something that can be ever changing. Your philosophy does not have to be etched in stone. You have a basis that you believe in, but it can be developed and shaped and molded as you become more mature and you grow at what you're doing as a coach. So creating a coaching philosophy wasn't something that happened overnight. It took time to understand what I really believed in and how I really wanted to lead. Because the way I started thinking 10 years ago was not the way I was thinking 20 years ago. My thought process has changed as time went on because, man, look, if we're not constantly trying to improve ourselves and going to clinics and calling veteran coaches and calling peer coaches and talking about things and putting ourselves in positions to create community around people that you trust, then, man, you really don't know what you stand for. We can say things in a moment, but man, this stuff for me is written down. I got a jump drive over the last 20 plus years of things that I've learned over time. And that's where a lot of my books and some of these episodes that you see have been created that's coming out because, man, you got to have a philosophy. And that's talk about X's and O's and, character development. Because the thing about it is, man, it's like, man, you can be the best X and O person ever. You can draw stuff up and everything. But if you can't help develop the character of your team and your program, then that's a big part of coaching. We got to be able to do that. But that's determining what kind of person you are. What kind of person am I? What kind of person am I? It really does make us check ourselves on what we really believe and what we really stand on. We got to check that. And so, when you develop your philosophy, it starts off with your core values. What do you believe at your core? And how did you use that to develop your philosophy and how you want to approach and do things? And like I said, your philosophy is something that's ever changing because every year your kids change. Their skill development change, their level of maturity change, their body types change, their motivations change. All those things develop when you have kids for 2, 3, and 4 years in your program. And you got to be able to adapt to those by still keeping your foundation, you know? So there's just a couple things there. All right, the other thing is overcoming challenges. Now let's be real. Coaching is not easy. It's not. Now, but our job is one that 2,000 people sitting in the gym believe they can do better than us. It's amazing. I've never walked into a doctor's office, talked to a doctor who's went to school for Lord knows how many years to practice medicine, and tell the doctor, "No, doctor, I don't think I have. I don't have the flu. I don't believe it's the flu. I think it's emphysema." But everybody that walks into a gym or to a football stadium or baseball stadium, man, it's a high number percentage of those people who think they can do what we do better than what we do. It's amazing, and that's okay. That's okay, because when you have core values, when you understand what success is, when you have a philosophy in place, you have that foundation, then guess what? It's not necessarily that coaching is made easy, but it makes it easier for you to make the best decisions for your program and for your team. There were times that I could remember when I was overwhelmed, um, expectations were high, and it became more about my ego and me showing people that I could coach more than just making sure I gave my student athletes what they needed. Yeah, that's happened to me. It's happened to others too, but I'm speaking it out right now. There are times that we could lose our focus as coaches and get caught up to more so because we got egos too. When you're a competitor, you got an ego, but our egos have to be put in check by something. And some of the things that we can check ourselves with is what are our core values? What is our philosophy? What do we believe is success for our program? And we stay focused on those things, it helps us to make our job a little more simple. Now, it's not easy. One of the biggest lessons I learned is that you don't have to do it alone. And that's what takes us back to who influenced you to want to be a coach, who inspired you. I mean, you got to seek out mentors. You got to find veterans. You got to find people that do what we do and who've done it for a long time at a high level. You can't be afraid to reach out. Y'all won't believe, man. Early in my career, I picked up the phone, looked online, and I've called the graduate assistant coaches or assistant coaches at programs like Villanova, South Carolina, University of Virginia, and got a chance to talk to assistant coaches and get them to email me some of their philosophies and beliefs and their defenses and offenses and things like that. I've gone to coaches clinic. My wife will tell you, man, early in my career, man, I was in the car. I was driving to Texas, driving to Mississippi, going to different places, man, going to different colleges, going trying to learn. And then you had here locally in Louisiana, man, you have coaches that's had a high level of success and winning. That man, I picked up the phone and I called them. I got their number and I called them, trying to figure out, man, man, how do I do this? How do I make this a little easier on myself? So you don't have to do this alone. Learn from others. Be open to feedback. You know, I could even go back while I was at Fair Park. My first 2 years, man, I was just playing man-to-man defense, and I ran this basic motion offense, and I believed that, hey, this is how we're going to play. And then when Coach Carl Harris came over, and after a few games, he's like, "Coach, man, we got to find a way to make the game easier." He said, "We're not scoring any points. We got to mix up our defenses and try a zone, or try some full court pressing or something to try to find a way to score easier." So I listened to him. And what I did was I got some videos. I called some other coaches. I asked some questions. I went and visited other coaches' practices so I could learn something different and find out what fits my team. I listened, you know what I'm saying? Because you got to, you know? And it helped me to grow. Like I said, it ain't made me perfect, but it helped me to grow. I can stand here. I've been a district champion. I've made deep runs in the playoffs. That didn't happen overnight. It wasn't easy. But the thing that stayed consistent over time as I got better, as I became a better person, is sticking to what I believe in, having core values, believing the philosophy that I had. If you're struggling, remember that growth comes from those tough moments, the tough times. There's a scripture that says, despise not small beginnings. You gotta remember, man, don't be afraid to start out small. You gotta start somewhere. Some coaches get lucky every time they get a job. They loaded with talent. You know what I'm saying? And they win a lot of games. They do. But then you got others, man, that don't get blessed with the opportunity to have that much talent. And they got to take just some regular kids, man, and teach them how to play the game hard and give them motivate them and find them and give them some core beliefs and core reasons why we go out there and play. Like I said, I challenge you, man. I say, what do you want people to say about you when you're playing? That you soft? You don't like contact? You don't play hard? Or you want to say you're a tough guy? That kid play hard. That kid plays smart. You're in control of that narrative. You're in control of that. So embrace those tough moments, learn from them, and keep pushing. And like I said, man, find you a mentor. Find a couple of mentors. Pick up the phone. Inbox somebody. I mean, like I said, if you want to reach out to me, man, direct message me. Send me a message. I'm always willing to help. So make a commitment to grow. Okay? Remember, it's not just about coaching others. It's about coaching yourself. Okay? Make a commitment to others, man. Make commitment to growth. I'm sorry. Coaching is not easy. There are a lot of challenges, and you got to make a commitment to grow. You can't just sit and say, look, this is the way I'm going to play. This is the way I'm a coach. I ain't never changing. And you ain't never won nothing or never even competed at a high level. But that's something we got to check ourselves sometimes, And even if you have won, sometimes, man, we still got to check ourselves. We want to keep evolving as people. We want to be the best people we can be because we want to have peace of mind. And we get peace of mind, by being consistent. Okay? Being consistent in what we believe in, But, as we get close to the end here, like I said, there's a bigger picture. Coaching is about so much more than just a game. It's about teaching life lessons. It's about helping young people become better versions of themselves. That's what it is. Because the bottom line is that every kid that comes to your program is going to become an adult. And they're going to be a professional at something. Whether they become a teacher or work for FedEx or become a doctor or engineer or become an accountant, go into the military. We want to make sure that our goal is to make sure that each child that comes to our program, that we're helping them become better versions of themselves. And so, you also want to encourage the parents that's involved. That, hey, look, I know, parent, you're doing a great job. I'm not here to replace you. I'm not here to try to take your place. You know what I'm saying? That's not what's going on. But what I am here to do is to support you as you watch your young person turn into an adult. That's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to assist. That's it. We're not trying to replace the parent. In some situations, people try to say, well, we're the mom and dad. Yes, that's true. But we're not their mom and dad. But we are an influence there. And so when we're focused on that, man, the relationship between the player and the coaches can be great. And we have an understanding and knowing that, man, I'm here to help. If the average person, if the average parent could just tell their kid, hey, man, coach is trying to help you and not trying to hurt you. Like one of the things I said, I think I put out there, man, like coaches, we do play favorites. We do, man. We want the kid that's going to work hard, to have a good attitude. And a lot of times we get kids that got a lot of talent, and people done told them they're great for so long that you meet somebody like me who's ready to challenge you to go to the next level. Sometimes that takes a lot of humility. If you're going to be coached, if you say you want to be a big time player at the next level, man, you're going to be coached. The nicest coach you ever meet probably going to be the one you had in middle school and high school. When we get to college, man, it's different. And this college coaches, their job's on the line. These guys are making millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions, and they need kids to go out there and do what they say. So, I mean, so if you one of those people, those kids that's hard to deal with, man, look, humble yourself. And coaches, man, do our best. Let's be fair with these kids. We got to make sure we're holding all the kids to the same standard. And we do. And look, the bottom line is, be honest now, The better players do get a little leeway. Let's be honest. Let's stop playing around. Get a little leeway, man. It just happens. Everybody don't get the same grace because everybody got different ability, and we got to stop beating around the fact that some kids are better than others. It's truth. Bottom line, for the rest of your life, that you're going to be competing with somebody for a job, and if you own a business, you're going to be competing with somebody else for sales. I mean, it's just the truth, you know. I mean, competition is life. So we want to make sure, man, that we're focused on the big picture. Like I said, for me, what I want to do is I want to, I hope that I can influence young men to want to be husbands and fathers, to want to be committed to a family. That don't mean you're gonna be perfect and do everything right, but the desire to want to lead the family is something that we need more of. Okay, we need that, and these things will define your legacy. When you focus on meeting the needs of your student athletes, that's going to define your legacy. You don't have to consciously think about what you want your legacy to be. It's gonna be there. You're gonna have a legacy based on how you handle the student athletes. And look, you're not gonna make every student athlete that you have happy, so you might as well don't even worry about that. Nobody's gonna get 100% of the kids on their team to love them and to buy in. It ain't gonna happen. So we just want to make sure that for us that we're seeing that and we're understanding, and that we know it's going to be tough, but we got to stick to our guns. Make sure that you know what your core values are, know what your philosophy is, continue to grow, okay, and then stay focused on the big picture. That, man, it's not just about this game. This game is going to show me what kind of person this child is going to be, and that's not about the wins and losses. It's not just about that. But the legacy is going to take care of itself. So as we close out, what I would like for us to do as coaches, take a moment to reflect on the journey that you've been on. Do some reflection. School's starting right now. We just getting cranked off. Football season's almost here. So if you're a football coach, the season's right around the corner. But take a moment to reflect. Take that moment to reflect on who you are as a coach. What excites you about the journey you've been on and the journey that you're on? What's exciting to you? What challenges are you ready to face? Are you sure you're ready, that you're prepared? You know there are going to be some hard times. Are you ready to face them, or do you dread them? Me, I look for the challenge. I look for it. That's me. I'm always looking for what the challenge is each year. I just got a nose for it. And remember, it's not about having all the answers right now, but be willing to grow, learn, and lead with your heart and your mind. Okay? Be the best person that you can be. Keep challenging yourself. Coach yourself. Read books. Watch videos. Watch podcasts. Pick up the phone. Call other coaches. Have conversations. Get together. We got to do those things to constantly challenge ourselves, to make sure that we are willing to grow, learn, and lead with our heart. You're not going to get all the answers, but I'm telling you, your tough times is where your lessons and your answers come from. You got to remember that. So your next step that you want to do right now, just reflect. Check yourself. What are you excited about? What challenges are you ready to face? You're not going to have all the answers right now, but have some conversations with other coaches. Find out what they're doing, how they're doing it, what their approach is. Because we want to get better at what we do. Coaching is a journey, okay? It's filled with ups and downs, but it also has incredible rewards. Stay true to your values. Keep learning. And always remember why you started coaching. So, look, hey, if you listen to this video, somebody share it with you. If you can, man, hey, I would love to hear about your journey. If you want to DM, direct message me, a personal message, I would love to hear about your journey and what you got going on. If there's anything I can help with, I'm here. So this is Outside the X's and O's. Tonight, Like the title tonight was "Why Do You Want to Coach?" Um, Looking forward to continuing this journey. Um, I'm at Plain Dealing High School now in North Bossier, Bossier Parish, and at a new job, small community, and I'm very, very excited about what's to come. I'm at a different phase of my life right now. I'm very, very excited. So, if you can, like, subscribe. YouTube is the channel that I want to continue to grow, and y'all pray for me as I continue on this journey. And I want to make sure I'm adding value. And if you feel like some things I've said has added value, then please do share it with some coaches that you know, or even anybody in any type of leadership role. So I appreciate y'all. Good night.